Hey folks, TCG here, and in today's video we have a fun matchup here. We've got Z on the left, played by Adam from Locals, and we have Joe on the right playing Whitebeard. So yeah, this is kind of a weird matchup for the most part, because Z has black and purple, so is able to have just a bunch of control to be able to deal with a lot of like Whitebeard's drops and stuff like that. So if Joe plays any of the 4-cost Luffy or Frankie, Z should be able to get rid of those straight away, and that can pose an issue. However, Zephyr does only have 4 life, so that's something to keep in mind. Joe cracks his Dawn and then ends his turn and has to take a life from Whitebeard's ability. Adam cracks his Dawn and then goes, oh yeah, my life, and it's a friendly, so of course that's not a non-issue. Hasn't drew for turn yet either, so literally no problem with this, and then draws for turn. So the real question here with like a black and purple is, can you actually do anything on turn 1? They have like some very small options, and here is one of them. We have the 2-drop Dofi, so this is pretty nice for Z to see. If you don't know what Zephyr does, it's got the when attacking ability to Don -4 and KO one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 3 or less and gain 1,000 power. So here we see Joe doing all reliable with Whitebeard, swinging for 6k against 5. We see a Zero getting dropped for a 2-cost counter, which is just nice, and then Joe plays a Zoro from the starter deck here. Adam messed up his draw for turn a little bit, but fixed it right up, so no issues there, and then cracks it Dawn for the turn. So they have some really nice answers here. So that Zoro can be KO'd by like Kobe, for example. It's a 3-cost as well, so if he really wanted to, he could minus the Z, but that would put him on such a bad disadvantage that it's really not a good shot for him to do. We're going to see him put 1 underneath the Z here and swing at lead for 6. In Whitebeard, you usually want to be blocking these, but Joe plays his deck a little bit differently, and he takes this early. We do see the Kobe. So you play 3 for the Kobe, trash a card from your hand, and you can KO a card with a cost of 3 or less, which is a really, really nice answer for that Zoro. Start of the turn for Joe, we see him being able to crack up to 5 Dawn here. And yeah, to be fair, Z's in quite a good spot here, having the blocker up, having a little bit of additional pressure while having the Kobe here. But also, one thing to always keep in mind is that you're playing against a deck that has such a strong advantage being 6k always, being defensive and offensive, and playing a deck that only has 4 life. It can be really scary because Whitebeard has a lot of rush cards. Out of nowhere, they can just have cards that can just deal with a lot of the things that you have. And also, black doesn't really have a lot of strong engines that allows them to like actually go ahead and do stuff. We can see Joe just like going through his life, and he was like, oh wait, it's turn 3, I forgot to take a life at the end of one of my turns. Again, this is a locals, so this is perfectly fine. It's been accounted for. So now they've just got to think about what the next steps are going to be. One thing that is a question is whether he would have took the attack from the Z if he'd done that as well, knowing that he was going into the 3 damage, but it's not overly important. He still has time, even though Whitebeard put itself on like a clock. We see Joe put it down underneath Whitebeard here and swing at Z for 7k. And Adam uses the blocker here. Joe plays 3 and swings with the rush Zoro here, so it's a 5k. So 3 for 5 is fantastic stats, but also it has rush. So Adam takes his damage, but you can see he's thinking a little bit here. So you might have a trigger that can go off and kill the Zoro. Whether he did or not, we don't know, but decides not to use it if he did. And then at the end of the turn, Joe self-damages with Whitebeard and passes it back over to Adam. So we see Adam go up to 6 done here, I think, yes. And then we have some really nice options here for black to be able to deal with some stuff. I don't know whether first I would try and swing with my leader here. So it looks like he's gonna tap 6. So if he's tapping 6, then he has Sakazuki. The play here would be to swing 5 with your leader into the Zoro, trying to force a card from your opponent's hand before you do anything, just because you can't hit 6 anyway. But yeah, plays the Sakazuki, able to trash a card from your hand to KO that Zoro, and then passes turn. see Joe crack his Don and go up to 7 Don, which is nice, but his life is getting a little bit low, getting a little bit twingy. So he definitely has to watch himself. I'd be a little bit concerned in Adam's situation, having trashed 2 cards from a hand from the Kobe and the Sakazuki, that I'm running a little low on resources, and I only have 4 life. So effectively I'm going to draw 1 less card than most other decks. Whitebeard, of course, starting with 6. But we see Joe tap 1, play Nami, and then is able to add the beautiful Radical Beam from Nami's ability, because it is a Straw Hat, which is really nice, and Nami doesn't specify such characters. You can also grab the events with those, which is fantastic. One thing that Joe does really well here is you'll see that he splits out some of his Don thinking through his plays. I would suggest that if you're new to the game, that this is something that you get accustomed to doing yourself, because it can really help you like plan out your strategies for turns, plan out what you need to do. We can see he plays a Brook for 2 here, able to put 2 underneath the Whitebeard, making it chunky, and then throws another Don under as well to make it even chunkier at 9k. Adam takes it here, cracks up, goes up to 8 Don, and Joe does take his life at the end of the turn. So Joe's in a weird situation where he has 1 life left, unless he has 9 Beard in his hand. A lot of the time here, he's going to want to be just taking that. As soon as Adam prevents any sort of threat, that's going to be like a 2-card protect. It's worth him just going ahead and take that. See Adam throw 2 Don underneath Kobe and swing into big ol' Eddie. So Whitebeard can have a situation sometimes where you're not drawing your one costs, which is a bit annoying. We do see Joe take this here. I don't know whether I'd have waited for the Sakazuki to go, but we don't really know his hand. But we see the Sakazuki here swinging in for 8 now. I personally would have took this one, but we do see a guard point here, which is stopping the 3 anyway, and he left enough Don open to be able to use events, so you might just have a very event heavy hand and might not have the spare 1-drops. We do see a Borsalino getting dropped on turn here, so it can't be KO'd in your opponent's turn by card effects, and it has blocker and a 5k base stat line. Blockers can be the nemesis-ish sometimes of Whitebeard. If you can get a board full of blockers and your life total being pretty healthy, you can really put Whitebeard in a situation of difficulty. Joe is in a weird spot, and a weird spot that Whitebeard finds it's in quite often, which is that it has a very large hand now, but it has no life, so it has to protect itself a lot. We see Joe tap 7 of his 9 Don and play an ace, a Porcus ace, which is really nice. Able to give -3k to the Sakazuki and to the Borsalino, and leave that 2 Don open for his events, which I'm assuming that's what he's going to be planning to use it on. So I'm interested to see what he's going to swing the ace into here, because in this situation you want to get your opponent's life as low as possible, because you're on a clock now, you have no life left, but also that Sakazuki is a lot of pressure. Can you deal with it? That's the question. I think I'd go life, because you need to. We see the block from Adam with the Borsalino, which could have I don't see a potential issue with this. It's stopped 7 into life, so it's protected like 2 cards, 3k. We see Whitebeard swing into Sakazuki here, so Sakazuki has -3k from the ace ability, so it's 6 into 4, which can be a little bit hard to protect here. If we did see ace into life instead of the ace into the Sakazuki, I don't know whether I'd have just took the life here and wanted to protect the Sakazuki on the crackback. Yeah, it's a weird situation, because as I mentioned, Whitebeard has a buck ton, as the kids say. I think that's what the kids say. I don't know. I'm not that cool. Of resources and a buck ton of rush cards. So Adam's able to now go up to 10 Don. He still has the Sakazuki on the board with a Kobe as well. The Kobe isn't really doing too much for him right now, unfortunately. And Whitebeard, it's sitting in a nice position, really. It's got a lot of hand, and it's got 2 Don opened for events. We see a big old play from Adam on the right here, playing the Kuzan. So 10 drop Kuzan, all your opponent's characters get -5,000 to their cost, and on play KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 7 or less. Really good, really nice. And then we do see Adam using Z's abilities here to crack the the ace. So he does lose 4 Don, which can hurt, but next time he's going to go back up to 8, so this is where it can really become useful. We see the Sakazuki swing, Ansing the Zephyr swing, and yeah, Joe just protects those with 2 drops. He is running the Usopp and is running the Luffy here, the 2-drop counter ones as well. So yeah, he's in a pretty tasty position, and this is the issue with black, really, in the lack of resources, and you can just get whittled down very well. We see Joe tap 7 again and play another ace, and is able to give -3k to Sakazuki, and is now going to swing Whitebeard into Sakazuki because he can clear that quite easily. Adam only having 2 cards in hand means that he's limited in the potential plays that he could play. And I think Joe's playing this well. He's pacing it well. One thing that's a little bit worrying is the fact that this Kuzan's on board now and is going to be sitting at 10 right now, which yeah is a little bit scary. It can be a little bit weird, and this is kind of where like the game can come to I have to win this turn, but with Adam having 8 Don now instead of his 10, and also Joe having kept 3 Don open, the question of do I just put 8 Don underneath Kuzan comes to question, and how many actual event cards do you have in hand to protect yourself. But we see a really spicy king drop here from Adam. I like the mindset of like removing things, but as I said, I'd be a little bit concerned here just about the amount of actual rush cards that could potentially like punch you in the face. So we're going to see a red beam here from Joe. And then we're going to see another red beam here from Joe. So, yeah, that's pretty good. The double red beam leads me to think that his hand actually doesn't have that much protection left. Because there are other options. He only had to get to 11k there. So maybe actually just jamming everything on the Kuzan could have been the strat, or forcing the Kuzan with maybe 1 or 2 more. I like putting Kuzan at like 12 here, and then putting the rest underneath the Zephyr is also a very good option, because then you can split the attacks, reduce some of the efficiencies. And again, Joe's doing the split with his Don, thinking through his plays, and again I suggest doing this if you are new to the game, because it's really helpful. It's helped me prepare a lot of my attacks. We see 8 going into Z here, and Adam takes this, so he does have a very small hand and he mustn't have a lot of protection. We see the Rush Luffy come out with 3 underneath it, swinging at 9 at life, and yeah, we see that unfortunately he can't get there, and this one is a markup win for Joe and Whitebeard on the right.